Sometimes.
Well, there you go.
First up, what is it that makes Louisiana spicy? Is it the food? Is it the nightlife? Or is it the king of Baton Rouge? He runs his own law firm. He visits churches all over the world. He's a regular on Court TV, as well as various other news outlets, and kicking it on Talk 107.3 with Brian Haldane. He says he never has evidence, but he is the fantastic Franz Borghardt. Joined as always by a Truth or Derek podcast Hall of Famer, a mere 2 states over, the pride of Atlanta, Georgia. Also running a law firm when he's not killing it on social media, CNN, Court TV, ATL News One, and wherever else they need brilliant advice. He loves cats. He loves court. He is the great Joshua Schiffer. And for the first time, and hopefully not the last, depending on how this goes, her name is synonymous with hosting, reporting, experting across all the true crime and pop culture universe. From corruption in Tennessee to hosting one of the finest podcasts on the airwaves today, the Outlier podcast, being on TV, fresh out of CrimeCon, seeing through the bunk and telling it like it is, the magnificent Lauren Conlin. How's everyone doing today?
Woohoo! And
Thank
Lauren's gonna help us combine my deep love of reality television with true crime. Because really, my dream is Vanderpump Goes to Prison. Like, I will do that show forever. I want to be the Andy Cohn Cell Block 6.
So what is it that makes Vanderpump Rules so amazing that we could merge with true crime? I have so many ideas, so many thoughts.
Guys, I'm pop culture, but I am not reality TV. I have to let people down easy when they bring this up. They're so excited to talk about the housewives. They're very excited. And listen, the reality TV, as far as I go, is like Rescue 911 reruns. That's it. I don't do
Maybe, Lauren, maybe there's an opportunity here. Maybe there's an opportunity here.
Well, more than that, there's an opportunity for us. So, Lauren, what part of the pop universe do you inhabit? Because I may have some secret hidden passions in the pop culture universe that I hide for purposes.
Okay, so I guess it's funny. My pop culture does relate to crime because I'm very much into celebrities getting arrested. That's number one.
Wow.
I mean, right?
Who doesn't?
I love it when celebrities get arrested too.
Well, part of the reason I pivoted into crime is after looking at my numbers for a really long time, I realized that nobody actually cares unless there's a crime being committed or unless the celebrity is in trouble. And I've always had an interest in crime and journalism, obviously. So here we are. But no, I love to interview actors when they have movies to promote and the movies are actually good. I do love the Oscars. I like comedy. I'm a big fan of comedy and comedians, but reality TV is definitely where I draw the line, except for Love is Blind. I will watch Love is Blind all day.
That's just terrible. I love that stuff. So you really have taste and skills and appreciate the art that is entertainment. Like you can talk about real artistic merit kind of stuff. Which is
and I live in New York, so I used to cover a lot of Broadway as well, but I got my start on red carpets sticking my microphone in everybody's face and asking for interviews and quotes to people that don't want to talk to me. So
I love it. I love it when people stick in my clients or in my face. I love it.
Yeah.
Kimberly Akimbo deserves many Tonys. I loved it. I thought it was so freaking cute and more. I've seen like 10 shows recently. That one's my brain. Like so good.
I also
beautiful.
So
I loved it.
Some quick housekeeping to get out of the way. Speaking of sticking microphones in bad celebrities' faces, I know Lauren's interviewed Alec Baldwin before. Now, you guys could all chime in on this because I thought this thing was already put to bed, but I'm seeing that there's another trial. There's a third wave of trial coming for some reason. Like, again, I thought this thing was done.
Just when you thought you're away, they get you.
Never underestimate the spontaneous ability of stupidity to flourish. Alec, I believe, was in the clear until he gave that pesky interview where he talked about, and I don't know if you remember this or not, where he was like, I didn't pull the trigger. No way I pulled the trigger. Like, had he just kept his mouth shut, Lauren, correct me at any point, had he just kept his mouth shut, I would have been like, You made some good movies. I like you. Let's move on.
Beetlejuice.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I actually have an interesting tidbit about this. So when I interviewed Alec Baldwin, it was in 2019, and it was for this movie Crown Vic. You can look it up. It's essentially the same, almost the very same cast and crew as Rust, the same director who was shot, Joel D'Souza. So I have all these pictures, I have all these interviews. Yeah, from this premiere, I ended up having this actor, you know, pay a little bit of attention to me, and I capitalized on that, and I stayed in touch with them, and they had actually sent me a picture on the set of Rust only a few days before Helena Hutchins was shot. And I just said, how's it going? You know, and he's like, it's great. We're having a lot of fun. And then the shooting happened. So of course I reached out and I was like, look, I know that you're probably under a lot of scrutiny right now, but what can you tell me just as a source? And it can be off the record. And he's like, off the record, I'm super confused. I felt totally safe with Dave Halls and Hannah Gutierrez. He said, everybody was really professional. I never once felt strange. And I'm like, okay, well, let me think about this. I kind of know his demeanor. I don't want to say he is a party boy, but I think he likes to party. I mean, and let loose. Maybe
enjoys life.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's be honest.
And yeah, so that was number one. So I was like, okay, well, what we know now of Hannah Reid is that Hannah Gutierrez Reid is that she liked to party. She did some cocaine and she had her friend flush it. But what we also know, and what I realized beforehand, is that this movie, very low budget. I actually have financials of this movie, and it's an Alec Baldwin film. And at the time of these financials, go ahead. You wanted to say something?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's my belief that this was an Alec Baldwin investment. This is how I really make my money, because they make money on the big show. We all know that. But then once you've got the money, a lot of these celebrities start financing the films because it's a really high return on investment if you get one that can get picked up. And with his star power, he obviously has all the phone numbers. So if he puts up a few $1,000,000, he could turn that into 50 or 100 like that. So I love the fact he got those financials.
Yeah, no. So I got the financials like pretty much right after Crown Vic, because again, I talked to everybody. I try to make these connections. So not only did I speak to an actor, I spoke to a producer who starts talking my ear off, and I made him think that, I mean, I'm married with kids, but I'm like, yeah, I'll come meet you after. Whatever. Yeah, exactly. I mean, sorry to say, you guys men are so stupid that it's almost like
it works.
Whatever. Sorry. Yeah. It does.
Like
it works. So
I like shiny things.
So does my husband. He likes shiny things too. I'm talking to him. He ends up sending me the financials, and I go back and I look at them after, and I notice, and I even showed my husband, I'm like, this seems like they don't really have a lot of money right now. They're really trying to raise money. At the time, all they had was like $5 or $6 million for this movie. I'm like, Alec Baldwin also needs to get paid out. So my point is, Hannah Gutierrez Reid was doing these two jobs. She was being the armorer, and she was also being a props person. She wrote an email to the producer 2 weeks before saying that she was completely overwhelmed and she couldn't do both jobs. And I'm like, they had no money. They could not pay people. So this is so many things that went wrong with this film. And so with Hannah serving, I think like only, I don't know what's her sentence, like 18 months or something like that.
18 months, and she's going to get, don't do this again.
Exactly. And she's crying about it. And like, I agree. It's not complete. It's her fault, right? It is her fault. Why the French was there a live round in that freaking gun? I'm sorry. I have a potty mouth. And I don't want to do this on my first episode.
Hold on.
First of all, swimming's fine. And second of all, I remember hearing about the cocaine part. And that's when I thought, because we knew that the 18 months was kind of floating around there. But as soon as I heard about the drugs and stuff like that, I was like, wow, they can really pin this whole thing on her.
I feel like 18 months, allow me to be uncharacteristic of myself. I feel like 18 months is a lot of time for her.
Yeah.
Like, you do.
Like that's going to be a life-changing, I feel like it's going to be a life-changing experience for her.
She's not going to serve all of it, I bet.
No,
but even still, if you put Derek in jail for a week, it's gonna be a life-changing event for Derek.
Yeah,
Derek's gonna make some new friends.
I don't want to do that.
Well, the
No, right.
manifests over time. Being locked up for a week is very different from a month, is very different from a year.
But I don't know that negligent crimes are prevented by putting her away.
Like that's my thing is, all right, I get the message to production crews. Hey, y'all really
Definitely.
There's it's not an excuse for the live round. First of all, let's just get past that. Anybody that has ever been trained with guns ever can tell you the 9 billion things that never should have happened. So she definitely needs punishment and a message needs to be sent. 18 months is either an outrageously long period of time for such a minor mistake or absolutely not enough time because without her mistake, someone would be alive. And so I get she's the reason that someone's dead. What I really find interesting is the pettiness of continuing to go after Baldwin. Because remember, the first time they went after Baldwin, it was the jacked up, changed the law, charged him wrong, got to dismiss it because we're just headhunters. That prosecutor gets kicked off the case, and then Alec is free. Then he's dumb enough to make the statements. Now he's going to go back up for trial. And I'll tell you, my old Judge Henry Newkirk would tell Josh, when there's a dead body, juries get pissed. When there's a dead body, juries want to do something because not being able to do anything leaves them feeling impotent. And Franz and Derek can talk a lot about impotence and how it feels.
Sorry.
I have medicine for that now.
Yeah, sorry. You can
look. I just want the fans. I want the fans. I want Derek. I want you guys to all hear this. Some of us are not impotent. We're just growers, not showers. I'm just saying. So point is, I think you're dead right. I think Josh is dead right. I have seen, as a former prosecutor, victims and people are more upset when there's a dead body, even in a negligent, like, hey, we all agree that this was an accident, right? Well, it doesn't matter that it was an accident. We should put them away for jail. I'm like, well, wait, have you ever encountered an accident before? I mean, we're not talking about like Karen Reed running over her boyfriend. Like, this is a truly wasn't. I'm joking.
Well,
I'm joking.
No, I got that. But if I could just say, like, I also believe that her demeanor, she was a terrible defendant. She didn't want to be there.
Horrible.
Yeah. If I was on the jury, I was like, bitch, look alive. Like, I literally was like, come on, you need to like act sorry, right? Like,
Lauren,
look like you're sorry.
Lauren, you want to know something fantastic? Because Josh and Franz, obviously at the top of their game in defense, they've said this time and time again, and we've talked about a lot of their cases and a lot of the ones in the news, is likability to the jury can easily take a 50-50 case and make it 60-40. It's like day one. Absolutely. You can't sit there with that look on your face and just look like you ate a lemon because people are not going to like it.
She was insufferable. Like, yeah.
It's that magic that you see with really good like if you've ever been in a room with a really good actor, they walk in, you can't look away from them. They just have that magnitude. The opposite's true. If you've got this eat shit and die demeanor going into court about I'm not taking responsibility, dude, no one will punish you faster than a jury. The jury has 12 sets of eyes, 12 noses to smell your absolute unlikability. And if I was her lawyer, I would have drug her to the river and drowned her.
I know. I feel like, who was
this corpse is on trial. She was horrific.
Questions. Did she have a private attorney or was it a public defender? Did insurance? So if she had a private attorney, did insurance pay for the private attorney? Because it was in their best interest to.
Her dad is a famous Hollywood armorer. They had money. They were good. Yeah, I'm blanking on her attorney's name now, but yeah, that whole thing. I mean, somebody died, and I think it's because Hannah was fucking off, excuse me, on a movie set that appeared to be fun, and she wasn't paying attention. And yeah, I believe Alec Baldwin pulled the trigger. Do I think it was his fault? No, not really. I think most actors would have opened the gun up and said, here you go. Can you all see it? He didn't do that. But again, he didn't have the intent to kill, the intent to shoot. I'm kind of like, why are we having a trial about this? Just like
3 trials.
pay a fine. And like, I don't know. It's horrible. But they also worked it out with Helena Hutchins's husband and her son, where they gave her husband an executive producer role on Rust. They're making a shit ton of money. And like he seems okay with it. I mean, he doesn't
They
have a
got
wife
taken-
and his son doesn't
they
have a
got
mom,
taken
but
care of. Well, and remember, lots of other cultures, if you commit a crime, as long as you can pay the penalty for it to the injured part, man, that's what it is. Like, it sucks you killed my uncle, but you gave me money, so it's good. And
So-
yeah.
So this movie, so I don't know Hollywood well yet.
Mhm.
This movie, does it get finished? And is it a cult classic because of everything surrounding it, or does it never get air at all?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be, it's going to be in theaters, and it's I don't know if they finished filming. I believe they actually did finish filming, but I think it could go either way. It could flop, or it could be like that Brandon Lee movie, The Crow.
I was just gonna say The Crow was huge with the story that was
right, because they want to see where somebody died. They want
or
to see the
somebody
movie where
switch it out.
so,
Same as the Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
They replaced Paul Walker with his brother.
Yep.
That was all you
Right.
heard about that way. Right?
And the morbid
Yeah, so-
curiosity drives viewers, and really the producers and the directors don't care about the movie being good as much as they care about the movie being popular.
Well, how many
And-
times have you watched The Wizard of Oz trying to find that little person? Remember they said somebody hung themselves?
My
in the
gosh,
closet?
when they were hanging, I
Yeah.
still do that.
So do I.
literally still do that. I still try to find the word sex in the leaves in
Oh, in the-
Lion King.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever that is.
What is it, Little
Yeah.
Mermaid? There's a tower that looks like a penis.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah, that's on the cover, the penis tower. That's like old news. I
There
found
was
that
an
right away.
Aladdin one as well. Like, there's
Yeah,
there's
take
always-
off your clothes in Aladdin. She whispers it. Oh, dude, Disney's been perverts
Oh,
forever. It's
Disney's
crazy.
filthy.
Disney is horrific.
Yeah.
Totally
First one I ever
filthy.
watched, The Hunchback of Notre Dame,
Yeah.
when they killed the lady on the steps, and I was like, "What the fuck? This is for children."
And Disney. was
Wait,
built
remind
on
me of
killing
that.
people.
What's the
The
What's
Hunchback
the
of
lady
Notre
on the
Dame,
steps?
they kill his mom on the front steps of the church in like the first 30 seconds of the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's so Disney for parents to die and like kids to be orphaned. That's like so Disney, but
It's Bambi. And yeah, no, Disney, another one absolutely filthy. Go back and watch old Muppet shows from the 70s and 80s and the double entendres and the just flat out dirty jokes are
really? Okay. All right.
amazing. I had no idea until I was watching it with my kid. And I'm watching John Cleese, circa 1982, just tell witheringly offensive jokes with a straight face and a wink and a nod on public television.
Amazing.
All right.
Amazing.
I do want to go over to Karen Reed in a bit, but I just want to talk about some other shitstorm that's going on in New York right now with your soon-to-be president. How on earth did he raise $200 million?
Well,
I mean, yeah. Okay.
And they've made a martyr out of him in the meantime. So this is just like I've never seen somebody fail upwards this quickly. Like, because I mean, with the way the money's rolling in, if you could buy an election, this is going to be the one.
it's hard to determine what the impact's going
All
to
of
be.
us are like, who's going first on this?
Yeah, no,
Sorry.
I did this all day on scripts and a couple other.
Oh God.
So I've got the Trump. So here's the right now you're hearing everybody's reaction to the actual ruling. So of course everybody who loves Trump is screaming about how he is being punished and he's a martyr. He's going to lean hard into this. And for a certain percentage of his support group, they're going to give him more money and be more motivated than ever before, because nothing motivates people like feeling like you're getting attacked. And there is this really loud group of people. I don't know how representative that is of politics or population at large. There's been an enormous amount of both silence from the middle as well as some pretty serious pushback. We had some big non-Trump conservatives here in the South, where in the South, the fight is Trump a real conservative GOP or not? And the people that feel Trump is not real conservative GOP hate him, but don't have anybody else to go support. Whether this changes the election, unknown, because guess what changes the election? The weather in the last 24 hours. This election is going to be another probably very close one. And when you get down to that fine a line, the tiniest variables can push it one way or another. And that's the frightening part. Because
keep in mind when we're talking about Trump, you don't have to be anti or for or whatever. We're talking about the sizzle, about the whole kind of thing, because I agree with what Josh just said.
Yeah.
you know, all these polls and all that sort of thing, they've done equal amount of polling where they talk to people that are saying, I'm not voting for him, I'm not voting for him. And those same people said, when you step in that booth and you're going to hit that button, they hit it because that's your 24-hour shitstorm at the end.
So what I love about the entire situation is I am not a Trump enthusiast. I don't hate him. I don't love him. In fact, I look at him and I accept him for what he is and what he isn't, right? Josh made a tweet recently after the trial that I 1,000% agreed with. And boy, should I never have shared that tweet.
Same as
God, fill
after
me
we talked
in.
last time. You said Karen Reed's guilty and she's gonna walk, and holy fuck, did people go after her.
I had so much fun with Karen Reed, Kool-Aid drinkers. So Josh posted something to the effect
I follow you on Twitter. I don't think I follow you.
Our Twitter universe is hilarious.
So Josh posted.
I follow you. Sorry, go ahead.
So Josh posted that normally someone like Trump wouldn't get jail time. Like first offender, non-violent crime, paper crime,
money
is in a perfect position to pay a large-scale fine.
Make it go away.
He gets probation. But if you say that out loud, everybody loses their minds. Everybody.
Why is that so bad to say? That's just a statement. That's a law statement. Why is that so bad?
Right.
I think what Franz is flabbergasted by and struggles with is the idea that there's this huge percentage of the people that love social media that just want to be heard. And it doesn't matter what they say, doesn't matter how they say it. They have a deep need to be heard. And that's something we actually talk about when we try cases and talk about how you manage and manipulate case presentations and dealing with people, because I want to be heard more than anybody, man. I'm a professional talker. Being heard is what I focus on. But Twitter and Facebook and the socials, they allow people from the comfort and anonymity of their desk to scream in ways that they never would in real life. That's the part that cracks up me, is these very nice, middle of the road, decent, great, will say the most uproarious shit in the universe, will be super hateful, racist, bigoted, awful.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, Susie, great to see you at the 4-H club. And you know, let's tone down on the violent rhetoric.
Well, that's honestly, yeah. Well, no, go ahead.
The funny thing is, Josh and I can say something similar, but the way Josh says it, everybody loves Josh. He's so cute and cuddly. I did something the other day I never do. I corrected grammar, and Josh called me on it on Twitter. I was pissed. I was pissed that somebody did something. It was a stupid tweet, and I couldn't help myself. I corrected their grammar, and Josh was like, "Oh, come now, Franz." And they love Josh now more.
No, I mean, I was just going to say, I feel like you can't please everybody. Somebody's always going to be offended. Even if you are well-intentioned and you are being middle and you're being unbiased to a majority, somebody's still going to shoot you down and be an asshole. So that's why I always just say my opinion, because I don't really care anymore. Because again, when I thought I was being fair and I was being reasonable, I got completely crapped all over. So I'm like, maybe I'll just say what I want.
The perfect example of, I don't know if you want to call it social media bullying, but, and Lauren, I'll ask you this question after.
It is.
We talked with Coffin Daffer 2 weeks ago, and she went to Boston just to cover the Reed thing, but I guess everybody knows her take on it. And she said people were chasing her down the street, calling her the C word and this, that, and the other thing. Where we said, okay, you know, if it was any other case but this one, and I said, Lauren, somebody got hit by a car and died outside. It was either the person in the car that hit them, or it was a group of people that are somehow managing not to rat each other out. 99 people out of 100 are going to say it was the person in the car. But if you say that in this case, even
they lose their mind.
Point to it a little bit, and people go fucking nuts.
I agree. And it's just funny. I had Jennifer Coffindaffer on my podcast, and then I had Aiden Carney on the podcast. And
you had Nermi too, right?
But I just mean, like, if you're talking about extremes on this case, I had Turtle Boy and I had Jen. So
love me some shout out to Turtle Boy.
But here's the thing that happened to me, and well, as it still goes on, I don't really care anymore. But as soon as I had Turtle Boy, I have these people going, I'm going to unfollow you and tell my entire true crime community to do the same. And you are horrible and you don't care about victim. And I'm just like, the fuck? Oh my gosh. I'm like, I don't even, it's like, what is this double standard? And now here I am, the way I speak about the Reed case is mainly, I'm more focused on the trial at this point. When we were leading up to the trial, yes, the most simple answer is generally the answer, right? However, how many coincidences can you have, you guys? How many freaking coincidences can you have before it starts to be a little weird? Now we're in the middle of the trial. I have never sat here and perpetuated a fucking now I get on a roll. I don't want to be known as that girl, but
it's fine. Go.
But I am that girl. No, but I've never perpetuated a 100-person conspiracy, this and that. What I've said is that this doesn't make sense. Why would you ask for a screenshot of this text? Why would you refer to your friend as the guy? Why would you have so many butt dials? Why all of a sudden, when Cellbrite is the prosecution's friend, all of a sudden should we not listen to Cellbrite? I'm just saying all of this shit. And then you have the experts and you're like, great, here's the expert. They're like, Karen Reed's BAC. It's between 1.39 and a 2.5. Oh, okay. That makes so much sense. Now the experts. Yeah. And then the ones from yesterday. I mean, yeah, it's so here's a hair that traveled from Canton to Dighton to this to that. I'm not saying that the police planted a single hair there. Not once did I say that. I'm just saying, why am I listening to this when she can't even determine if it's a fucking human hair or not? I don't even know what I'm looking for. And so I have to think the jury is in the same place as me. Sorry, mic drop. I'll stop here.
The fact that the hair, all right, human hair and non-human hair, really, man, you've done any hair analysis, that ain't a tough one. The physics of this case are mind-boggling, with the trip on the highway where the hair stays there, where there's glass embedded in a
glass. We didn't get to the glass. Yeah.
We didn't get to this, the entire ridiculousness of the tail light and how easily they shatter or don't shatter.
They don't shatter.
No, they don't shatter. And so here's the, do I believe that really bad shit happened to John O'Keefe? Yeah. And I don't like any of these people because they're all horrible. And I don't know what happens, but
we actually had a, go ahead.
Well, the state's done a shit job of putting together a compelling case.
So,
could they have? Absolutely.
There was a two-part thing that came in. One was interesting because we've talked with Cheryl and with Lisa about it, McCollum. Any entry-level CSI person should be able to tell if a headlight crash between hitting a person or a snowbank. Like, apparently that's simple. The little bit of plastic would have some clothing on it or something. The second part was a question for the lawyers was, you guys said they were putting forward the wrong defense. If they just had said she was drunk and she hit him by accident and he died, Franz and I have talked about this. That's
a better case.
That's like a 3 to 5. It would be a better case. That's
so what bothers me about their defense is, I have absolutely done the third party defense before where I point the finger at somebody else. What bothers me is this was a case where they could have sat back and basically reasonable doubts over here, reasonable doubts over here, reasonable doubts over here. When you commit to it was a massive conspiracy. Well, okay, can you do that and in the same breath still argue, well, she accidentally hit him and then didn't realize she hit him and then left and this, that, and the other. It feels almost disingenuous. And by the way, what I love about this case is I wish that all people would always scrutinize all evidence and the presumption of innocence in the way that they've done it in this case, because it doesn't happen in every case. I mean, more often than not, I'm the one wearing the tin hat, right? And so,
you realize that they didn't come up with this third party defense. They were told about it in detail by this private investigator who all of a sudden got cold feet. Not all of a sudden, after they wanted him to sign an affidavit. Who knows if somebody got to him, whoever, I don't know. But the thing is, if they didn't go with it, I mean, this is why they got a subpoena for Jennifer McCabe's cell phone and how they saw the fact that she Googled this or allegedly Googled this. I hate saying that. And all these weird text messages and this and that. So they had to kind of stick what their initial defense was when they got this call. So I get that. I think that going through everything, and obviously, like you said, Josh, the state is doing a piss poor job of presenting a case because you know, I don't know if you watched the Christopher Greger trial, but and I forget his defense attorney's name, but I really appreciated the fact that the defense attorney came out and said something like, look, you're going to see a video and it's horrific. It is so bad. I don't know what to say. Yeah. He really made the jury trust him, I felt. And then waiting for Lally, he should have said something like, hey guys, you're going to see a crazy conspiracy. You're going to see something that's so far-fetched. Please remember, these witnesses are not on trial.
Yeah.
I'm not a lawyer, you guys. Like, why is he so bad? Like, why this is the best the state has to offer?
It's been shocking because, hold on, this was all telegraphed to the state long in advance. They knew exactly how the defense was coming. There was no question about what defense pathway, because, and it shows what you can do with money and work. Karen Reed's team's been on this for a long time. I don't know exactly where they spent all their money, but I do suspect they spent a good bit on PR and some public engagement with a variety of people. And I think the post-trial investigation of that is going to be illuminating. And I know everybody wants these different people arrested and sued. Who knows what's going to happen? I've never seen individual local adjutants / journalists get involved in a case to this degree. And we've had big cases. We've had people be really involved with cases. We had Sir Major Page. We had all this stuff. What's happened with some of these third parties is mind-blowing because it affects justice. And I really will credit this pre-work done on behalf of Karen Reed, partially if she walks, because they changed the entirety of this case. It changed the way Lolly presented it from the very beginning. Rather than a grab you, death, then tell a linear story, he started off with, everybody, you're going to hear a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm going to lay this really slow, long case, and then crescendo at the end, which I think isn't working very well for him.
See, I only disagree. I only disagree insofar as what I think people need to remember. Assuming the jurors are not knee-deep on social media, assuming the jurors are not watching Turtle Boy on Twitter and looking at, which they may.
They are.
I don't know. I don't know that they know this case like every expert knows this case. And I think that matters. I think everybody has become a true crime expert on this case, right? And that's great. I like scrutinizing the state's burden, right? I love it. I like the whole questioning everything. I just wonder, though, if we are giving these jurors way more benefit than they should be given on their ability to actually pay attention and to catch all these nuances that everybody else in the Twitter world and social media world is like sinking their teeth into. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. I don't know.
See, that's why I know I'd be a terrible juror, because I think Josh, one of you guys sent this story to me when it first came out. And I was like, after like 10 seconds, I was like, she's guilty. Give her 20 years.
But what has, I guess, sure, maybe some of the nuances, but what has the state shown the jury so far that would indicate that Karen hit him with the car, especially when no one saw him laying on the ground, but they saw Karen waiting there and they didn't see him in the car. Nobody saw them fighting. Nobody heard a screeching sound. Nobody heard, I mean, I just don't understand what they've presented so far that would make me think that she hit him.
And if the Commonwealth's going to be like, oh my God, look, she wanted to kill him. Look at this fight in Aruba. Look, she's had some crappy voicemails, crappy texts. Whoa, 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 whoa. Are you familiar with how people date and how lots of people break up and lots of people say the most indefensibly awful things to people they stay married to for decades? Now, listen, everybody's relationship's different. I don't use words like that, but I also understand that there are some loving couples that treat each other terribly when it's a private conversation. So I ain't holding those against her as that shows she wanted to murder John.
No, I wasn't.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't either. And the text with Brian Higgins were, while very, very cringy and hard to listen to, I was kind of just like, she kind of started texting him, only really a month earlier. And it was kind of just like, I don't know. Sure, they were morally wrong, but she wasn't sending nudes. She wasn't saying, come over here. Let's, she wasn't asking for a booty call.
And that's it. If she's going to throw herself at him, she did a pretty crappy job at it.
I was just going to say.
But to be fair, he also didn't do a good job catching the fish that was maybe getting thrown at him.
His game is weak, Franz.
Yeah, his game was right. But I'm just saying, as a female, if we want to sleep with you, like it'll probably happen. Especially just, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying, as a female, it'll probably happen if we want it to happen. And I'm just saying, because
70-30.
You're never going to get an objection from the guy. And I love
that's what I mean. Yeah.
When they're in their 30s, I'm like, no, you understand that every man you've ever talked to for your entire life has always been willing to go out with you no matter what.
Yeah.
All like, no, these guys never like, no, you're a woman. You gotta understand how powerful the is.
No, you're right. When my husband
doesn't take much to get us from a maybe to a yes.
My male friends or my male colleagues, and he's like, oh yeah, they want to sleep with you. I'm like, no, it's not like that. And he's like, it's always like that. Like, it doesn't matter. It's always like that.
It's the crappiness of biology and chemistry is before we've done much of anything, we're programmed to make more of us. Yeah. And impossible to get away.
Who am I to fight against biology?
Trying to make more really good looking people.
The idea that women are like, oh, boys don't like me is the most farcical thing in the entire universe.
There's a boy out there for you.
It doesn't exist.
I mean, but my point was, I don't think that she killed John so she could go run off and be with Brian Higgins. So the state was trying to prove that. I'm like, but no, so I guess it was to show that, Karen, I was going to say Karen's credibility and her character. That's what I thought they were trying to dig at, but.
Right. So allow me to be the contrarian here, because I do think that she's going to walk. I think she's going to be acquitted, but I absolutely think that she rammed that car into that dude. I'm sorry. I do.
Oh, you
do?
Being said, you do.
Yeah, that being said, when people say to me, there's been zero evidence, Lauren didn't say zero evidence, but when people say on social media, there's zero evidence, and I'm like, well, actually there is evidence. You just don't find it credible. And the jury's job is to say, okay, well, look, those are fragments of broken taillight and a shoe in the snow, but maybe it means something else. So it's not as if there's no evidence, right? It's just, is it credible or not? Her statements and admissions, are they credible admissions? Are they not credible admissions? Is it a my cousin Vinny? I shot the clerk. Wait, I shot the clerk? I don't know. But it's not like there's zero evidence. It just may not be. And look, I agree. The Commonwealth is doing everything they can to lose this case. Everything.
Yeah. No, I definitely get that. I definitely hear what you're saying. And something else that it's also really interesting, the whole I hit him, is that you've got Karen from the minute that she woke up and was panicking, calling Jennifer, waking up John's niece. And then, the whole time, did I hit him? Could I have hit him? Da-da-da. And then it's like, all of a sudden she gets in front of the EMT, Katie McLaughlin, and she says, I hit him. It's like, really? So you just switched there? You just went from, did I hit him? And then all of a sudden you've got this big giant admission of, I hit him. So that's where another thing that you're like, well, which is it? And the grand jury never heard that.
Drunk or not, if you hit somebody hard enough to crack a taillight, you would know. There's no mystery.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
But she knockered at the time, maybe, which adds to it. And here's it. Getting back to what we're talking about originally. So we know all this, and social media knows all this, and we get to prognosticate. What the hell does the jury actually see? Jury hasn't seen that much. If you believe that the jury really is limiting itself to the evidence as produced in court for a 4-week-long trial so far, they've not heard that much evidence. And I think that we should check ourselves before going, how much has the state actually provided? Because the state has put out that here's where they were, here's where they ended up, he's dead, and here's her words. And
so here's my other question for you. I have
not for me, for him.
Well, no, for all of you guys.
Oh,
All of you guys. I've never seen someone accused of a crime this beloved. I've never.
We've had well-beloved social.
Well, but this is
teachers. We've had
okay, but this is extra, right?
Never on a cop death. That's what I always say. Is
I've never watched someone.
I've
never watched someone walk into court and there was applause. I've never seen it.
Mm.
But that being said, is she going to testify?
No, I don't think so. And just to add to that, I am in a couple Facebook groups, and some of these people are like, where does Karen get her hair done? All this stuff. And I'm like,
same as
look at that dress. Look at that dress he's wearing. It's that tie he's wearing silk. It's a silk tie.
Remember with YSL, there was all this, he's wearing this today. You could buy it here, or you could get it cheaper here.
I love it.
If Turtle Boy and Grant Ellis can get action based on this, I don't even want to think about what Karen Reed's DMs look like.
Oh my goodness.
The most horrific things you've ever imagined coming into that inbox. Because man, I went to undergrad up in Massachusetts, and I know a bunch of people from Plymouth that are brusque and hold some very hilarious positions about people being offended or not, and what's offensive and what's not. They push the bounds of what's funny, offensive in a way that for these gentle Southerners, I was just flabbergasted. Hilarious, but beyond offensive. These people know.
I know.
And it's cruel. One of my good friends was a professional wrestler. His insults, you just crawl on the floor and cry the way he could dress you down. The viciousness. And these are small towns. Everybody in this town knows each other. Everybody in this town went to high school together. Everybody knows, oh, these are the people that grow up to be cops. These are the ones that grow up to be firefighters. So we're struggling with the idea of trying to interpret the dynamic locally when they know what that dynamic is. We're missing half the conversation that we could never understand because we don't live in Canton. And that's where I think some of the fascinating stuff.
I'm from there. I'm not from Canton. I'm from New Hampshire, which is right on the border of, where I'm from anyway, Manchester, New Hampshire. It's like maybe 45 minutes away, but that's why I think
cigarettes and booze are bought if you cross lines.
Are you kidding?
Texas.
What's that?
If you happen to cross lines to save on tax, it's literally the only reason we always went to New Hampshire was the blue law.
Everybody says that. You get the
cigarettes and all your liquor.
All right. Can we put the Turtle Boys in the pond just for a minute? Because I just wanted to talk about one other thing. And I'll ask Lauren from the pop culture aspect of it, and you guys as the lawyers. The Puff Daddy apology, good idea or bad idea?
Terrible idea, but that's
If I look, I mean, obviously that was a horrible beating, an awful thing. But you might remember when Tiger Woods was going through his whole thing, he never said a word. He got caught all this and let everybody talk, and he just disappeared. Where I thought this was a weird move to come out and apologize. And I just wanted to see, again, from a legal aspect, and Lauren from a celebrity aspect, was that a good move or not?
So when I have a client accused of a bunch of bad shit, and he says, I'll admit to this bad shit because I did this bad shit, but I can't admit to all this other bad shit. In the history of tactical maneuvers, it's never worked, right? And what I heard was, I'm not really sorry, but because of the statute of limitations, I can be sorry. And I probably did this other bad shit. That's what I heard. And I love Diddy's music. I love it. I celebrated his entire catalog. I'm just saying, not good luck. I would not have advised that.
No, I was shocked, very, very shocked that he came out with that. And it's only because he got caught and because the video was so horrific that he couldn't continue to keep posting pictures of his baby daughter and not address this, because he is active on social media. And if you break it down, you break down his actual statement, which I thought was so interesting, is you look back on the worst times in your life, and he's really distancing himself from this whole thing. He's not taking ownership. And no, go ahead.
Total psychopath.
What do you want to say? Yeah.
No, you're totally right.
Yeah.
Total psychopath. Because when he's saying that statement, he's agreeing with it. Yeah. If you do that and look at it from his, it's the ultimate in sociopathic self-justification, because he really didn't think that he did anything wrong or copped to anything wrong, because
No.
possibly understand where he was coming from and what he was going through during this horrifically difficult part of his life. And if you did, you would agree. But it's semantics. It's the same way all of my fraud people at the very end get convicted of fraud, and they're like, you know, it wasn't against the law. And I'm like, no, you motherfucking admitted to a bribe. It's a bribe. That's what a check for money is called, to get. It's a bribe. And
that's illegal.
That was just business services. No, it's a motherfucking bribe.
The only thing worse he could have said is if he would have looked at the camera and said, I mean, come on, you guys know what it's like. I mean, sometimes, you know, sometimes you just gotta, you know, I mean, like that's the only
it was
thing
that
worse
classic unapology. Like, I'm sorry that you were offended by what I did.
Yes. And he also, his language just, you know, I had to ask God for forgiveness. I had to go to rehab. Oh, you had to? You literally had to? Oh my gosh. And then the fact that he would add in that video, I think he said that twice. But I just think that, you know, obviously there is this grand jury, and I think that we're going to hear from some of the plaintiffs soon. I also, you know, I want to remind everybody as well that Keefe D is on trial in November for his involvement in Tupac's murder, and he's alleged that Diddy paid him $1.5 million to kill him, and he says he has a recording of this.
Yes, the recording.
So
the
crazy.
Diddy Puffy, or sorry, the Notorious B.I.G. P. Diddy dynamic. We are going to learn way more about that now that they're getting. Guess what? It ain't the story we always got told. It ain't. I'm sorry. There's way too much shenanigans going in there, and I firmly believe that Biggie was being taken advantage. But that's for another day. Here, back to what your real question was, though, Derek, about Diddy's statement. Whenever I've got someone that is accused of something horrible or has one of these things that the news is interested in, you turn around, you look them in the eye and go, is there anything you can say that would add to the conversation? The answer is no.
Yeah.
And if they push back, I go, hold on. Hey, before you say anything, what does the guiltiest guy in the universe scream?
Not guilty.
I'm innocent. I'm innocent. I'm innocent. That's
do you remember when we were talking with Nermi? I think it was on Twitter, and we were saying the same thing about Jodi Arias. She was like, I want to go on there for 2 weeks and tell stories. And he was like, are you out of your fucking mind?
It's why you have
hate you already.
Nothing good's going to happen from you talking. Shut up, sit down. Yeah. Shut up, sit down.
Well, but here's the question. And it goes back to the Karen Reeds of the world, and it goes back to the Diddy's of the world. I can tell a run-of-the-mill vanilla client who's not a celebrity to sit down and shut up in a nice way. Yeah. In a nice way that, by the way, I appreciate you giving me the money you're giving me, and they'll listen to me. Does Diddy listen? Does Karen listen?
Or are they the kind of people that need to pay someone so that they can ignore them, and then need to pay a second person to go, no, that original advice was really good advice. You should have saved your money and just taken that. And I've been both of those. I love when clients do, I'm going to go please get a second opinion. Here's a list of great fucking lawyers. Go call that, please.
And Diddy has many lawyers. So I think he is listening to his lawyers to a degree, and what he's doing right now, and what his lawyers are doing right now, is they are grasping. I don't know if you saw some of the motions to dismiss on Joy Dickerson-Neal's lawsuit, but they're claiming that Bad Boy Records was named as a defendant, but it wasn't formed until 1993, and this happened in 1991. And sex trafficking, there were no laws on sex trafficking or revenge porn, so they want that dismissed. It's like, cool, fine, dismiss it. You still got rape. You've still got sexual assault. I mean, I'm just saying, like, go ahead, dismiss it. This is grasping.
Well, and then you also get into the kind of lawyers that live in the arts and entertainment universe, with both Franz and I are unfortunately used to. There are really great deal-making popular lawyers that will keep you famous. that have zero idea how to actually accomplish any threats to your success or a criminal or civil issue. They're great to be your entourage guy or lady.
Yeah.
And they are going to fuck you when it comes to giving you advice. And a lot of times those lawyers are basically yes people. And they'll tell, oh, yeah, no, it's going to be fine. We're going to keep doing this because it's the money train. And you need someone, if you're going to be successful long-term as a high-profile individual, to have a team where they will tell you you're wrong, where they will tell you to shut up, where they will tell you that you're not making a good decision. And it takes the right kind of client to really understand how valuable that is. I personally don't need a bunch of people to tell me that I'm right. I'm really good at believing that I'm right. I need people like Franz, who's going to turn and go,
Josh thinks Josh is number one.
Yeah.
And that's why, so we use a lot of role reversal and psychodrama in developing arguments, because guess what? I already know how I do that, and it's going to be the way. And that's doesn't mean it's right. I need to know how Franz would do it. I need to know how Lauren would do it. I need to know how Derek would do it, because two people can view the exact same circumstances, story, and come with absolutely different takeaways. And when I watch something, what's meaningful to me, what I take away, different from you. We watch the same movie and it can remind me about my relationship with my mom and how I have to go back and write her a card and say thank you for being a good mom, all while you're thinking about the unrequited love of high school. Something else. Same movie, different takeaways. And trial is like that. Representing people is like that.
Yeah.
Franz, just one more quick question about this as a former prosecutor. And I think they've actually done this in the YSL trial a bit. Will a prosecutor, if they're looking at this case, they think, okay, half of the shit that he's done or accused of doing, the statute has run out. Can you, in a grand jury or especially in a RICO trial, can you use that as try to shake the tree and say, okay, let's say whatever he did that 10 years ago. Let's see if we can get a more serious charge squeezed out of this, and then he could somehow still pay for it.
So remember, in a legal trial, and even if something has run statutes of limitations, Josh or I can try to get it in through what's called other crimes, other bad acts evidence. We call it 404B, prior bad acts, prior crimes. Even if I can't prosecute, even if I haven't convicted the person of it, if I can just prove it by a lower standard, I can slip it in the back door. And if I can slip it in the back door, all of a sudden, someone accused of doing one bad thing is now accused of the a la Bill Cosby 3 to 7 to whatever bad things, right? It is not a clean way of getting a kill because it creates appellate issues sometimes where they weren't previously. But if you're prosecuting, who cares? But yes, you absolutely can get those things in. And once again, the problem with Diddy is if he made something that could have been construed as an admission in his apology video, it makes it that much easier to get it in. Now, look, whole thing's on video, right? So it's not like it's a whodunit, but at least there was an argument. Yeah, there was an argument for no, that's some other guy that looks like Diddy beating the shit out of this chick that happens to be Diddy's whatever, So yes, you can get it in.
And that's why Franz's next presentation is called Backdoor Franz, Introducing Character Evidence the Borghardt Way. Because like what Franz was talking about, whenever we talk about opening the door, that this is what we're talking about. The moment you start referring to you being truthful or good or non-violent, any of these character things, the moment that becomes in question, the moment that someone can go, hold on, he just said that, I disagree with it, that's the door opening. And it's why when you get up on the stand, you got to be sure what you're doing. Otherwise, if you open the door wrongfully, the other side gets to come in and go, oh, so you said you're a peaceful person, right? Yeah. Well, let's go back to high school. Your first fight was in 9th grade. And then they will literally, with the right opposing counsel, will have your whole life. And when it's criminal prosecutions, it's most often the state trying to say, hey, you got a DUI in 1999, which means you already know DUIs, and it'd be more likely that you would get a DUI now. But there's some really strong litigation about correlation, causation. So we actually can keep out a lot of prior bad acts. But it's a huge issue, and it's also one that's very difficult for the state to prepare for. Because what have you done? Hey, we're opening the door. You can go into my client's entire life and roast them. Now, that should make prosecutor really happy, and it does if they've got that conviction right there. But it's such a broad inquiry. What happens if the prosecutor misses stuff? Then the prosecutor has made a mistake that might have cost them the conviction by not taking advantage of the open door. So you can actually game the state by surprising them with, there's all kinds of strategic.
I should be taking notes. I feel like I'm learning so much from you guys that I feel like
you and your husband and kids
I
come
need
down
to
to
jot this
Georgia.
down.
Yeah, you, your husband and kids come down to Georgia. I have a giant 1929 church. You can live upstairs. I've got a wonderful girlfriend and a 12-year-old.
So fun. No, I'll come by myself. It'll be more fun.
Hey,
it'll be more fun. Yeah.
Franz will come. I've got all the court TVs here. So that's
fine.
No, like Court TV, we have a Court TV Scripts, CNN, we have Fox.
Wow.
Here.
Yeah. I mean, I knew that about Atlanta, but like I said, if it's another crime con weekend, I'll be liquiding for the next
you're
Franz, you missed it. I'm on like a liquid diet for 2 days because I just treated my body like such crap at crime con that I won't.
Is that what happens at crime con?
Yes,
Franz. Abuse our bodies and talk about crime?
Yes, Franz, it's your dream.
Kind of. I slept like 3 hours the entire weekend. Let's just put it that way. I crawled home. My kids are like, "Mommy," I'm like,
Lauren,
yeah,
I was going to ask because we had a bunch of questions from people that we're not going to get to, but what I was curious about was what was your favorite part of Crime Con? And I know you and I were texting before about Chris Hansen, but you didn't run into him, man.
I didn't. No, I mean, you pick and choose the breakout sessions that you want to go to, and unfortunately, a lot of them overlap, so you can't go to all of them.
Right.
So I had a couple breakout sessions that I really, really liked. I really learned a lot, and they were super interesting. And then the exhibits, the creators, and the podcasters, and obviously Court TV and Law and Crime and News Nation. It was amazing to see their booths, see what's going on, and then you would just see Josh Mankiewicz walking around, and then later at the bars, you just see all these people that you watch on TV or you listen to their podcasts. They're all just mingling at the bar, and you're all just kind of just hanging out. I mean, I felt bad. I'm like, how many close talk or how many people did I close talk or spit in their face? I'm very nervous about that, but hopefully it all turned out okay. One
of the great successes of the true crime universe is how approachable the content generators really are. Like, the people doing they are absolutely want to meet everybody that is a fan. It's the people they want to talk. It's a really cool community.
Well, and Lauren knows if you go to any restaurant in New York, there's a 50-50 chance you run into Josh Mankiewicz.
Wait, I didn't know he lived in New York. I thought he lived in LA.
No, he's always in New York. I even know he came up here to film a special. And it's like, I'm going to Barney's Steakhouse. I'm going to Morton's Steakhouse. I was like, fuck, you eat like 4 steaks a day.
Oh, that's so funny. That's so funny. Yeah, no, it was super great to just see everybody and hang out. And like I said, I was so tired when I got back. I was like, oh. Next
year's in Denver. So basically, it's sponsored by Vising. That is who is sponsoring CrimeCon 2025. Brought to you by.
I am dying at you. Oh my gosh, I just got that you were kidding.
That's serious. We are going to go to Denver next year in September, and it's going to be like, this is a crime in several states that I'm going to commit in front of all y'all right now. I think that'll be awesome.
That'll be so much fun. Just look at a whole bunch of shit you can do in Denver and sort of get in trouble, but sort of not. Like, you know
Absolutely.
what I mean?
I'm going to keep Josh and Franz on one arm, and I'll be like, all right, anything I do, I have 2 lawyers right here.
They would eat it up. They would eat it up.
And we all know that Lisa wants us to come to Vegas in October, so that must
there'll be a bunch of middle-aged women in middle America who will get very threatening if you're too sweet on Franz and I will advise you of that.
Whatever.
Vegas.
But,
I don't want to hurt. I don't want to make anyone feel some kind of way.
I love the ladies of true crime. I literally want it to be like the 70s with a big floppy hat and my 1982 Lincoln and drive around with Josh and the women of true crime, and it would be fantastic.
That sounds awesome. I mean,
I don't know how I feel about the idea of having true crime groupies at this stage of my life. I'm just still wrapping my
Those are
brain around it.
Franz. You're a single man running a law firm with a cute little boy, a very friendly ex-wife, and a whole world of possibilities.
All right. Well,
I mean, I think, yeah. I think the people also are not just groupies. They really do care about justice, and they really do. I mean, they really were invested in a lot of these cases, and not in a weird way. I have to say that they weren't. It wasn't.
I like the people that disagree with me, but still can have a civilized conversation.
Yeah.
I love that. The people that DM me death threats, not so much a fan of that, right?
Yeah, that's weird.
Because it's like at the end of the day, I'm like, look, I'm not invested in this case. I'm just a talking sound box.
Yeah. At the end of the day, send Reed to jail. Don't send her to jail. I don't give a shit.
I was talking to Jen Coffindapper last night. I was doing a show with her, and I'm like, the moment it gets the odd ad hominem attack, no, man, I'm done. I'm doing really awesome. Not my client. I'm cool.
So my favorite is when somebody tweets me, could you be any more wrong? And my response universally is, I assure you, I can definitely be more wrong.
People were yelling at me about calling Trump right or calling Trump wrong. I was like, okay, that's what you wanted. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
That's emotionally driving and connecting for you. Good for you. Good. That's some good stuff there.
Woo! Well, for more Josh and Franz, maybe you need a lawyer. Maybe you're an absolute fucking nightmare with a broken taillight. Check out Joshua Schiffer at www.jdgrouplaw.com, on Twitter at LawyerSchiff, or just Google Joshua Schiffer or reach out to me for an extra helping of Franz. In Louisiana, visit www.borghartlawfirm.com, on Twitter at Borghardt Law, or just use the international network to Google it. Reach out to me. And for more Lauren Conlin, visit her web address, popcrime.tv. Check her out on Twitter at Conlin_Lauren, on Instagram at Lauren Emily Conlin, or reach out to me and I'll get you guys together. Definitely head over to wherever you get your podcast. Check out Corruption in Tennessee and definitely download the Outlier podcast with Lauren Conlin. Guys, that was awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And really,
Thank
go out there and download Lauren's stuff. Get on her podcast. It is fantastic. And you will be part of this true crime universe so that when you see us in Denver next year, Franz won't have to use his patented line, hey, want to go back to my place and let me commit some crime? Like, because while it works, it's just it's not tasteful.
When we're all Googling what you can do in Denver and not get arrested, how far can I push this and just get a written warning?
I can't use that line anymore.
No,
to come back to my place and commit a crime.
Yeah, we're developing a whole new set of lines for Franz. Hey,
I wouldn't even know where to start if I was single at this point in my life. I would be. I'd be a joke.
Lauren,
oh my gosh,
let me give you some free advice. Don't get single.
Oh, love it.
No.
I don't plan on it. But
you know what? Two of the questions.
Divorced. I am having the best damn time of my life.
Two of the questions that came in. One of them was for Lauren. It was the guy in Indiana who just got divorced after 17 years, and he said he's blind dating a lot, but he wanted to know what she thought the right way to do an introduction was, like a hug or a handshake or that sort of thing.
Oh God, I would say don't touch at all. Just be like, hi.
Yeah, the high five gets pretty awkward.
I don't want to hug or a handshake. I just say nice to meet you. Let's sit down and have a drink or a coffee or whatever the hell it is that we're doing.
Yeah, I can say that me slapping you on the ass has not worked as a good intro, but when it does, it's gold. It's just not really often.
So I think what would raise your stock is actually the opposite. Whereas it's a salty, like creepy behavior to slap her on the ass. If she were to walk up to you randomly at a crime con and slap you on the ass, all of a sudden Schiffer stock just goes like this.
We do that in Denver and not get arrested. That's the point.
That's really funny.
I sense an internet app and gambling and probably some click generator. It'll be fantastic. We'll make
Bye, guys.
Love y'all. I gotta run too.
Nice to meet you. Guys, thank you. That was so great. Thank you.